Hi everybody, it's Pete here again in my office, and today I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information about the draft of the literature review that's going to be coming due this weekend. You'll read this in the email that I'm sending you in a few minutes, but this is the first semester that I've ever required this assignment to be completed, and so because of that I'm still not exactly sure how it's going to go. Because of that I'm making it worth only 15 points as opposed to the 20 that most of the other smaller assignments are worth. Because the rubric is brand new and this is the first time I'll be answering questions about it, I just want to play it safe, and I don't want to make this assignment worth too much just in case it's a train wreck and I have to get rid of it all. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I want to be careful just in case. I've come up with a new rubric for this assignment, and that's posted on Blackboard too, and I just want to spend a few minutes talking through some of the points on this rubric. The first section of the rubric is called Comprehensiveness, Appropriateness, Given Questions. So what I want to make sure with this section here is that you include all the important stuff. Chances are good that if you hadn't included a subtopic that I thought was super duper important for you to include, then I mentioned that on your on the feedback to your lit review outlines that you submitted last week. So if you didn't hear from me, oh, you're missing something huge, then don't worry about this. You're probably on the right track. Just make sure that, to go back to my cocktail party metaphor from a couple of weeks ago, just make sure that every table at the party, every little clique of people is represented in your literature review, and then you'll be sure to cover all your bases. The next part of the rubric is organization, and all I want out of your organization is just that it makes some sense. I want one section to flow to the next in a reasonable way, and I want to make sure that it's not just little hunks that are sort of just thrown together. So as long as you have an organizational structure in mind that makes sense to you, it'll probably make sense to me too. Third is the focus on empirical research. I want to make sure that you're focusing on actual empirical studies, like actual research conducted by other scholars in this field. I don't want you to have nothing but theoretical articles, because these articles don't have any results because they don't go along with any experiments. So as long as you talk about real empirical studies that you find in real professional journals, then you should be fine. Another note about the empirical research: make sure that you discuss the specific parts of the research. Don't just talk about one key finding and leave it at that. Talk also about the methods that the scholars used in their studies. This will help the research make sense to me as someone who probably hasn't read the study before. And it's a good thing to remember for any future lit reviews that you write. Okay. Fourth, this one's really basic, and again, I don't mean to insult your intelligence. I just want to make sure we're on the same page on this. I want the claims to be supported by literature, not you. Having strong opinions about your topic is a good thing. It'll make you interested and will help you to see the project through to completion. But at this stage in the game, when you're writing your literature review, your opinion and your convictions should be completely absent. If it wasn't written by some other scholar, then don't include it in your literature review. Again, having strong opinions is a good thing, but I don't want them to show up in the literature review. Rather, just focus on the findings from other scholars. Okay. Next, I want a summary of the review. In this summary, I want you to just sort of go back through and hit the high points of the literature review proper. Talk about just a few of the most important things that you covered, so that the author has a sense. So that the reader has a sense of summing up. You know, okay, I see that this is coming to the end, and the author is taking me through the high points one more time. Okay, you want to make sure to include actual references to actual articles in this summary section, just so it's not super vague in general. Okay. Contribution of study. So in theory, after you've read all the literature on your topic and written your literature review, it should be pretty clear to everyone what your study is going to accomplish and what hole in the scholarship your study is going to fill. But I want you to be explicit about this and talk about exactly what you think your study is going to do to contribute to the field of knowledge in this area. Okay. Now, references in APA style. I want your reference list and your in-text citations to be in APA style. You can get away with a few errors, but just don't make them too prevalent. Again, remember to check out on the external link section of Blackboard. I want you to check out the Purdue Online Writing Lab, or Purdue OWL. They have a really comprehensive section on APA style, and it'll prove really helpful for you, I promise. Okay, last but not least is writing quality. I'm an English guy at heart. My undergrad was in English, and so I can't help but be upset at grammar and spelling errors and stuff like that. So give yourself time to proofread your assignment and make sure that everything makes sense to you. A trick I always use is reading it aloud, preferably to somebody else, because typically when I read stuff aloud, I catch a lot of errors that I wouldn't catch otherwise. So if you have a few minutes, read it aloud to yourself or somebody else, and you'll probably catch a lot of the mistakes that you're making. But most of you guys are really good writers anyway, so I don't anticipate this being too big of a problem. Okay, so those are all the areas covered on the rubric. A lot of you will wonder, well, how long does this stupid paper have to be? And fortunately and unfortunately, I'm not going to give you any guidelines. Look at the examples that I've posted in the research proposal section of the assignments folder, and check out the lengths of some of those lit reviews. In general, a good lit review for a paper like this is going to be at least 8 or so pages. I wouldn't take it longer than, say, 15 at this stage in the game, unless you're just a really long-winded writer, in which case get ready, because I'm going to rip you up for places where you could have chopped a word here and a word there to make my job easier. So anyway, don't make it overly long if you don't need to, but try to keep it somewhere on the order of 8 to 12 pages. That's just a guideline, okay? So if you're a page under or a page over that, don't worry too much. It's not the end of the world either way. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to now grab the camera and show you the documents on Blackboard that I want you to check out as you're preparing to complete this assignment. Alrighty, so let me go back to Blackboard and click on the assignment section. Okay, and down here, the fourth one on the list is the draft of literature review. When you click on this, you'll see just two things. The top one is where you'll submit the assignment once you've completed it, the draft of literature review. And then the second one is the rubric. Like I said, I just made this rubric for the purposes of this assignment. I actually just made it today. So it's far from perfect. It's just to give you some guidelines as to what exactly it is that I'm going to be looking at. Because it is a new rubric, I want to welcome your questions about it, just in case you read something that just doesn't make sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you, chances are it won't make sense to your classmates. So call me on it, and I'll be happy to clarify or make modifications as necessary. Okay, that's about all I can think of with reference to this lit review draft. So as always, send me your drafts early, and I'll provide you with feedback to the best of my ability. And the assignment will be formally due on, formally due on Friday, 2 July. But as usual, as long as it's been submitted to Blackboard by Monday the 5th, I won't have any hurt feelings or anything. So okay, send me any questions and send me your drafts, and I look forward to hearing from you all soon. Okay, take care. Bye.